Welcome, everyone. This is the Backdrop Outreach meeting for September 30th, 2021. As is our wont, run through the attendees and everyone give their name, internet handle if it differs, location, say anything else that you'd like to add. I'm Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet, and I'm coming to you from Altadena, California. And I will pass it over to Joseph.
I am Joseph from Las Vegas, Nevada. The Servasri.
Okay, I'm Sarvasri. I'm in Walnut Cove, North Carolina, and looking to get some more outreach going.
Thanks, Sarvasri. I think that leaves it to me. I'm, oh, is my sound okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am St. Paul Tim. I'm in Deerwood, Minnesota, and busy week. Excited to talk about, I think our outreach today is the Backdrop Live. We have Backdrop Live coming up 3 weeks from tomorrow, and we need to talk about that. So let's go ahead. And I have the agenda open. We actually, let's a quick recap of what's been happening in terms of outreach. We did get a newsletter out this week. We've had a little bit of social media stuff going on. I know Luke is trying to get to a blog post for the last release. We have a blog post in the works on our telemetry work that's happening. So we got a couple of things more than usual actually in the pipeline in terms of just the general outreach stuff we do. If anybody has any inclination and time to help with blog posts or other outreach, please let us know. And yeah, and I think that's it for that. Thank you, Robert, for jumping in and helping with the notes. I think because the Backdrop Live is such a big deal on our outreach agenda, we should focus on that today. I can start out by giving a quick update on what's been done, which is very little so far. We do have the idea for those who are new to this. The idea for Backdrop Live is that we've sort of created a template for an event, which should be pretty easy to drop into place every 4 months. The idea is that we do it once every 4 months on our related to our release schedule. And actually, I think we moved it up because of the idea normally would be to do it more in between. We just had a release a few weeks ago. Well, it's been a month, hasn't it? No, it's not. It's been 2 weeks. Normally we would have, we would wait like another month before we did Backdrop Live, but that gets us into the holiday season, I think. So I believe we pushed the date up into October, which is what we did last year as well. We had our first, this will be our fourth Backdrop Live, which means a year. We've been going for a full year.
Live specific dates?
The dates are, and quickly, it's I think the 20th to the 22nd, depending on where you are in the world. Although it's just scheduled to go over 24 hours, but that spans 3 different dates across time zones. Here we go. You can find the link to the limited information we have on backdropcms.org/news/events. And it is, well, okay, it's the 22nd to the 23rd in the US. But if you were in Australia, that would stretch into the 24th. So those are the dates. We've done a little bit of sort of announcing, hold the date. I have talked to a couple of people about sessions or topics for Backdrop Live. Kind of excited and that we have somebody who is interested, who's been doing a little bit of work porting a simple WordPress site to Backdrop, including importing the data, and they have agreed to talk a little bit about their experience, which I think will be a fun topic. that's about it. In terms of what's happened so far, what needs to happen, which is maybe more important, is, well, the biggest thing is we got to get on registration and get the Backdrop Live site sort of configured. There, I've been to the Backdrop, so we have events. I am totally frazzled today. Events.backdropcms.org is the website where we actually take registrations and manage the event. And the new dates are there. A lot of the content that is currently there probably still works from the last event. However, I did notice, for example, there's a link to a final schedule, which is the final schedule from our last event. That's probably the most out-of-date thing on the front page. So we should at least get that fixed. We also, of course, just got to get registration set up. And usually Jen helps with that. I was hoping to talk to her about that today, and I may yet have a chance. We are using the registration module, which, thank you, Joseph, for updates to the registration module. I don't know if that will affect us very much, because I think we maybe had the patches in place already on the event site so that we could use that. I believe, go ahead.
The registration module is working now?
It's working
Joseph,
better.
yes. The error that we had, so Sarvashri and I were working together when it exploded our site a couple of weeks ago, which is that error that I chatted with Joseph about yesterday in the issue queue, and that issue has been resolved, Sarvashri.
Okay,
So
great.
I was able to do a quick sort of setup of the site and get the basics of it working. So that's good. There are still a few bugs, but I think they're, for the most part, it seems very, very usable. And that's evidenced by the fact that we're using it for the Backdrop Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I got all the critical site breaking bugs fixed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good. I did. Yeah, I ran into a little trouble when I tried to set up a view, but I didn't really need a view. I was just testing that. But so I think we're good.
Okay. I think I have that one fixed too.
Oh, did you? Okay, excellent. Okay. So yes, the registration module is in much better shape. So one of the complicating factors with this is processing payments or donations for the event. Basically, what we do is we accept a $20, we request a $20 donation, but anything is acceptable and nothing is required to participate in Backdrop Live. Our philosophy is we'd much rather people participate than not for financial reasons. So we encourage, usually most people are able to donate the $20. We get some donations above and beyond that, which is nice. And those help sort of fund the infrastructure of Backdrop CMS. But we technically should be running this, our registration through the Software Freedom Foundation. Do you remember the name of the organization we work with?
The Software Freedom Conservancy.
Yes, the Software Freedom Conservancy. But we have yet to, I think, get all the details on that ironed out with them. That's been an ongoing thing that we've been working on for quite a while. And so that is a big thing we need to get going. And that is, I think, to some extent holding this up a little bit. But we did, for our last Backdrop Live, we just sort of worked around that. And I think we'll have to do the same, which is kind of work around that situation with a temporary solution until we can get the long-term solution set up. So if anybody wants to jump in and save me, I don't know what to do next. Well, so Steve, I hate to put you on the spot, but was it you that contacted me about helping? One of our big needs is some support in Europe, especially we run, for those again who are new, we run a around the clock schedule, and we try to have sessions going. We go do 3 hours on and 3 hours off. And we really have needed somebody to take a more active role in sort of just making sure that the session is running during the late night hours in the US. And I had somebody, and I am frazzled today, somebody offered to at least chat with me about that possibility.
Yes, it was me.
Good.
One of the reasons why I popped on tonight. I mean, it's sort of, it's been a long day for me today. So, but yeah, certainly I'd love to help if I can.
Well, so let me describe, I think one of your questions is exactly what would be expected of you. And I think I tried to answer that slightly in Zulip. But the biggest thing is to at least have somebody committed to being there on the night of, or the day of the event for you, and to sort of manage the sessions and make sure, or the discussions, make sure that we have, the rooms are open. If anybody has any technical trouble, that you're sort of able to help them with that. It would be great if you could maybe lead a discussion during that time just to help fill out that schedule. To the extent that you would be able to, well, we've had a hard time we have sort of a catch-22 there, in that people are a little reluctant to schedule topics at that time of the night because they know that there's not a lot of people that are going to participate. On the other hand, a lot of people don't plan on participating because we don't have topics scheduled. And we kind of got to figure out a way to break that cycle. And we have had, I think we've had at least some session happen. And this is happening at like 2 or 3 a.m. For me, and in the central time. And I believe that would be sort of late morning, or in most of Europe. We have had some sessions happen during this time slot for, I think, all of the backdrop lives, including one like a session in Hungarian or Bulgarian. I forget which one it was. But we've also had the German group has had a meeting during that time slot. So there's always at least one session that happens, and there's always 1 or 2 people that show up. At least 1 or 2, or maybe more. I think we've had up to 5 or 6 people come during that time slot. I'd like to get that number up. And part of what a European coordinator could do would be to just sort of help encourage people, our European participants, to actually participate and to get some topics on the schedule so that we make that time slot more attractive to participants. I think it's totally appropriate that we just redo, we could repeat some of the topics that we have at times that are very inconvenient for our European participants. Or, for example, one thing we have, I usually have like an introduction to backdrop session, and it might be good to offer that, in this sort of European time slot, as I often call it, the same topic, just for people who, that are in very different time zones and maybe couldn't participate in the other alternative. So if we could, getting somebody to do an intro to backdrop in that time frame would be really helpful.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I could certainly do something like that. I think I know enough about backdrop, and certainly Drupal as well, which obviously they're one and the same near enough. So yeah, I think I could probably pull something together, ad hoc, or off the top of my head. Yeah, shouldn't be a problem.
Well, I would say then the 3 big things you could do, and it sounds like at least 2 of them you've somewhat agreed to, which is, 1, just sort of be there. And I know you're pretty good with all the Zoom and video technology, so any technical issues, I think you'd be able to handle. The second thing is to actually do at least 1 topic during that time frame, and it could be something structured like the intro to backdrop. It could be something less formal. And third, the last thing would be if you could just, over the next couple of weeks, sort of, certainly just in Zulip and during any meetings that you're able to attend, sort of help encourage people to participate in that time slot. So
Yep, no problem. No problem
Okay.
at all. Happy to help.
Good. Well, we're going to put you down for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds good.
It occurred to me that maybe what I could do is quickly share my screen and let's look at, I did set up so here's the Backdrop Live site right now. And this is the one link that's really out of date, which is the schedule from our last Backdrop Live. And I don't believe that we have any intention of changing the schedule. I can't remember if there were any time zone shifts. I'm not sure if anybody's switched to daylight savings yet. So I think the time zones stayed pretty consistent. So we would be starting at 7 a.m. on the West Coast in the US. And the time slots that we're talking about would be the primary ones, although it isn't just this, but this is sort of the most difficult for us in the US is what is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. On the West Coast, it's 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. for me in the Central. And are you UTC? No, you're probably an hour off that, aren't you, Steve?
No, normally UTC. I mean, we are on British summertime,
Right.
which is an hour in front at the moment. I think.
I think you still will.
Did you say the 20? Did you say the 26th?
22nd.
22nd. Ah, right. Because it'll be the following week when the time zones change here. So yes, UTC +1.
So I started to draft up a new schedule, and I think I added a UK time slot to this schedule, so we could see that. One of the things that we're continually looking for ideas and support in terms of improving is how we communicate the schedule and all that in the easiest way possible to people. And this chart can be a little bit confusing, but it's what's worked best for us so far. So I have a spreadsheet like this, and I should just start to make this public because people can go ahead already and start signing up for topics and putting them on the schedule. That we can do that now. It would be nice to get this built into the event site so that we can actually, people can add their topics directly there, but I'm not sure we're there yet. And given the time frame, I'm not sure we will be. Any questions about this so far? Any thoughts on urgent things that we need to be doing right now for Backdrop Live that I haven't brought up yet? No? Okay. Jen and I are part of a code sprint tomorrow, which is like going to take most of the day. I'm going to try to connect with her to make sure that we can get this site up and hopefully get registration going by the end of this weekend. I think that will be a big help. We have, having, this being our 4th Backdrop Live, I think we've gotten a fair number of people now who sort of know about the event and have it on their radar screen. So we, again, for those who haven't participated, I would say we've been getting in, we've gotten anywhere from about 30 to 60 registrations. And oftentimes we're seeing anywhere from, 10 to 20, up to, maybe at a really busy time slot, maybe 25 people involved at a time. I don't have any reason to believe we won't be able to sort of get back up in that 30 to 40 registrations range, just based on track record and people we know are interested. If we want to see it grow, though, beyond that, we're going to need to do more reach and probably better early communication in the future.
Has anybody on Facebook? There's a couple of Drupal groups. Has anybody asked permission to post an advert on them?
So, I don't know the exact answer to that. We have, we tend to take a cautious approach with the Drupal groups. I think certainly, especially sort of those of us that are really closely associated with Backdrop. For other people, you know, I think Backdrop occasionally comes up in some Drupal groups. Especially like on Facebook. I've seen that on a few occasions, not a lot. I don't think there's a problem with that. If somebody mentioned like, hey, you know, for those who are interested, there's this Backdrop event coming up that might be of interest to people, you know, with Drupal 7 sites. I think that would be appropriate. If you want to ask for permission, that would be fine. I don't think anything we've done in the past in a Drupal group has sort of been in response to something else. So we didn't really bring it up. So I don't think we like formally asked for permission, but that, you know, we like to be friendly with our Drupal friends. So if that felt appropriate, it would be great to have more Facebook exposure. I do a lot on Twitter, so I make sure that we're present there. Facebook, we've done a little bit of promoting it. We do have our own Facebook page, but we don't use it nearly enough.
We could mention that within the life of Drupal 7, there's an alternative to come to Backdrop, and they could check it out.
Yes, we certainly do that a lot in our own channels. Stepping into a Drupal channel, we're always a little bit cautious to not be overly aggressive about going to a Drupal channel and telling people why they shouldn't use Drupal. That doesn't mean that we can't sort of, again, passively bring it up there. Or to be honest, I think there's probably more and more willingness for people to acknowledge that Backdrop is a good option at this stage in the process. You know, a lot of Drupal folks are seeing a lot of people leave Drupal 7 and go to other platforms. And I think, you know, they might be more open to promoting Backdrop than they, you know, would rather than other platforms. So it's, you know, it's something we're cautious about, and we could probably be, you know, we probably could be a little more aggressive about it, but I don't know what the answer is to that.
Well, I think it'd be a good service. At least they would still be in the same family if they moved to
Sure.
one of the other platforms. Then
That's our perspective, but
they
we're
really moved away. So
we just want to be cautious about offending the people who manage these platforms so that they don't kick us out altogether. But again, that could very much be an exaggerated concern. I'm not really sure that people are that worried about Backdrop. So. Does anybody else have any topic ideas for Backdrop, things they want to do during the event? Or things you'd like to see on the schedule that we haven't done in the past, or that we have and you want to be sure we do them again?
I could repeat my beginner's
Okay.
approach that I did last time. Get some more people thinking about new people and how we can best accommodate them.
I don't know if anybody in this room right now has been involved actively in the discussion, but we're implementing this telemetry process, right, or module right now in Backdrop. And a lot of questions are coming up regarding sort of policy and ethics of that. And I went out and started doing some research on it earlier this week. And one of the things I've considered is inviting some folks from other open source projects to join us for a discussion during Backdrop Live about telemetry and how they're implementing it, you know, how they're communicating with their users, about, you know, the data they're collecting and what they're doing with it. I think that I think the big thing about that idea is that it would require work, because we'd actually have to, you know, we'd have to reach out and identify who would have that interest and be. But those are, we did do a, here's Jen, welcome Jen. We did do a session during our first Backdrop Live a year ago where we invited folks from the classic press community, and we did a sort of one formal session with them, or a presentation on their part, and then also a discussion. So welcome, Jen. I don't know if you're with us 100% yet, but we're just talking about Backdrop Live. Any other questions or thoughts?
I don't know. It's really hard to gauge. It's really hard to know ahead of time what people will be interested in.
Yeah, well, that's true, but you know, my own, I mean, I do two different things, right? One, think about what am I interested in, and one of the you know, those of you who've heard me talk about this before, one of the ways to think about Backdrop Live is what are the things you want to learn about and talk about. And hosting a session doesn't mean that you are the expert and you're just there to teach about it. It can be, here's a topic I want to learn about and I want to talk about, and I'm willing to sort of start the discussion. And then I hope other people show up. And, you know, sometimes it only takes 2 or 3 other people to show up to have a really good discussion. So, you know, don't just think about what other people might want to learn, but also that from an outreach perspective, we want to do that. We want to think about what's going to attract people, but also think about what it is you would get out of the event. And the sooner you can declare a topic, especially if it's a topic you want to learn about, the sooner you can sort of let other people know so that they can be thinking about it and maybe plan to participate, the better. If you wait till the last minute, you might be less likely to have people that are there and available.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, well, partly I think we kind of know a lot of what we need to be doing right now. If people have other ideas, let us know. But we, you know, getting the registration up is the biggest thing, and sort of starting to get people to nominate and select topics. So a lot of stuff around the website. I will do my best to make sure we get this website and registration stuff taken care of in the next, hopefully 4 or 5 days. So by early next week, I think is the best I can promise, or best I can hope for. Guess I'm happy to move on to other topics then. If anybody has anything else they want to talk about for outreach.
I had one,
Sure.
Since documentation is traditionally kind of fallen within outreach, and I put it in the forum. I've made a bunch of PRs to the documentation site, and so this is just a plea for people to review and hopefully approve and maybe even get committed. There's one of them in particular that is a page that lists discrepancies between our form elements in code and what's on the form API, actually shown on the form API site. And if I could get that one onto the site, then that would make it a lot easier to start going through the site and correcting all the discrepancies. So it's issue 145. So just please, if you have any inclination, take a look.
To clarify, Robert, are most of these, these are not like text changes for documentation, right? These are code changes to make.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
the text changes, I've actually taken the liberty of just changing them and flagging it so that other people can look at them. But this is code change. I saw Jen put up a hand.
I'm
I think that
sorry.
was like the clapping
Oh,
sign.
okay.
So, so what you're looking for are people who can do these need testing or more just sort of code approval and pushing?
Yeah, I guess if the rules for docs are the same as for Backdrop Core, then it needs both testing and code approval. So.
We might be a little less formal on the testing, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a good idea. It's the problem, of course, with the testing. What do we have? Actually, we have sandbox sites, right? Are these things that can be tested in sandbox sites, or do we not have them for PRs on the doc site?
We have the have the ability to set up a local copy of the doc site. I don't know if, oh, I see Janice was copy. I don't know if there's a sandbox for these things.
Okay.
Not-
Well, sometimes these PRs are hard to test on the in the sandbox anyway. Sometimes they kind of require you to set them up. So
Yeah, Tugboat builds sandboxes for them.
well, this is good work you're doing, Robert, and I would like to help you out as soon as I can.
Realize
But
you've got something else on your mind, but right now, but maybe something else.
Does this automatically generate the list of form API stuff?
No, the form API stuff is nodes. It's created by nodes, and a while back, BW Panda kind of set up that system so that the tables are now generated automatically, and all the listings are generated through views and so forth. What the PR associated with issue 185 does is it goes through all the element declarations to identify what their properties are and the like, and then compares that to what's in the DB and says, oh, here's the discrepancy between the two. But the correction currently would have to be done manually.
Okay. That's cool.
okay. Does anybody else have any anything they want to talk about today? We certainly could end early. Although there is one other thing that I might I think I'd like to do. And we sort of did it last week, which is Sarvashri and I were experimenting with creating a video about migrating or deploying the site, sort of an instructional video, instructions on how to deploy a backdrop site to shared hosting. And I set up an account with Namecheap and was playing around a little bit with their Softaculous, and I just thought it would be fun to show. And again, we took a quick peek at this last week, but it might be worth peeking at again. Certainly, I think we've long believed that these one-click installers could be a route to getting new users. And just to show you what the current experience is if you're logged into cPanel with something like Namecheap, there is the Softaculous app installer. And we can see WordPress and Joomla at the top. It's interesting that Drupal doesn't even make. I think they have popular ones. Well, top scripts. Drupal isn't even. I wonder if that has to do with sort of Drupal 8, just not, Drupal 8 not really being a Softaculous kind of program anymore. I would have expected Drupal to be up there, but there is a portal CMS tab. And well, can't be purely popularity because there's Drupal. Drupal comes out ahead of WordPress. I don't know what order these are in, but I know the backdrop does show up. It's kind of way at the bottom, I recall. Almost down there. There we go. So this is what you would see. You could search for it. It is possible to just type in backdrop up here if you know what you're looking for. I don't think, based on what I'm seeing here, I'm finding it unlikely that somebody that didn't know about backdrop and were just looking for a CMS would necessarily find it unless they really were ambitious and searched through that whole list. Once you get here, there is an install button, and we used that. And did we have problems, Sarvashri? I think we got it to work, the install button.
Yeah, I think last time we looked at the demo, there's a demo you can click on.
Well, that too, but
I think
we also
may have installed it also, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll get to the demo button in a second. I feel like I might have had to do a second install the first time there was a problem. Oh, You know what, we had a problem with our domain, getting the domain, the link to work to the website. That's what the problem was. So I don't think it was the install script, but it was, you know, sort of getting the page to work, but we ended up getting that to work. This is what you see. Our dashboard is pretty prominent here. It's the first thing you see, a backdrop when you come. I think that's a good thing. Oh, okay. So there's the install, then there's the overview. Be curious where the features come from. I don't know if anybody recognizes that, if that's something they pulled from our website or if they created that themselves. It looks like something maybe we created. There are some, I thought that, yeah, there are some screenshots here. Oh, and that's an automatic slideshow.
Can you go back to the features?
I can, yeah. So service page is fast, adds more functionality, works great on phones. All that.
Interesting.
I think we have a list like this somewhere at backdrop.org, and it'd be interesting to see exactly where that came from. Anyway,
Yeah,
One thing to
feel like
put
I've seen
on
it
those
before.
features, if we can, is that it's an alternate path for Drupal 7 users.
that is could be a good selling point. Yes, that upgrade path from Drupal 7.
And then
Would
if
be
they
nice.
search Drupal, it might bring this up.
Yeah.
That's a good point. On the other hand, I don't know that we have any control over this page. And so we could contact them and see if, or we could update whatever page we think they got this content from, and then refer them to it. I'm sure it wouldn't automatically update, or I doubt it would.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are, then we had the screenshots. There is a demo, which, look at that, it didn't even take me to a demo button. It launched right into it. And we looked, this is what we did look at briefly last week when we were talking about the front page. And supposedly in 2 seconds, we're gonna go to the new site. Nope, redirect was blocked, so I think I have to click that button. Anyways, so it takes you, I don't know if it had redirected properly, if it would have taken you to the front page, but then I clicked on admin panel and it takes me to that. Anyways, this is what people see. It is, I believe that I logged in, you know, it's just sort of like very similar to what we have on backdrop.org. In addition to that, there is some ratings. We've gotten 7 5-star ratings. That's pretty good, although a few more wouldn't hurt. I wonder, this might influence like what floats to the top. Let's look at Joomla quick and see what their ratings are. Okay, wow. Well, they've got 2,000 ratings. So I bet this does have an influence. But of course, they've been around quite a bit longer and are better known. Let's go
How
back
many
to that.
How many ratings does that open real estate thing that's right under Joomla?
Good idea.
I've never heard of that before. Oh wow, that's a
Well,
lot.
It's quite a few. Yeah. But there are a heck of a lot of real estate agents around. So,
I guess that's true.
which I assume that that's what this caters to. So.
Right.
Let's go back and just finish this up. So then there are reviews. We apparently don't have any reviews. So maybe we should encourage some folks to review us. And I wonder if these numbers are for Softaculous or if they're for named, Softaculous on Namecheap. I'm guessing they're Softaculous wide, but I don't know that. And this is interesting. There is an import tool, and I'd like to know what this does. Does anybody have want to speculate on what or how this works? All it's asking for.
Your domain is on there.
Yeah, that's just auto-populating because this is my account.
Does
So-
Softaculous manage the website after you've installed it?
I don't know. I could go back.
I wonder if, I wonder
Let's
if
see,
that's like, if you manually installed it, that lets you add it to the Softaculous list.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. So here's so I do have an installation of a backdrop site. So I want to see what it lets, like, does it have an updates button? Edit installation details. So I feel like in, 7 or 8 years ago, when I looked at like Softaculous with Drupal, was that you could do core updates through Softaculous because you can't do them in the UI, right? And I'm not seeing like an update backdrop button anywhere, even though I have. So I don't know how a user would update it if they don't know how. And you can't, as Sarvashri and I discovered, you can't use like the file manager in cPanel to do an update because you can only, as far as we could tell, you can only update one file at a time using the file manager. So I would guess that if you installed, well, so I've never done, I don't know how the core backdrop works. I've never used UI to update backdrop core. Can you? In theory, would you be able to do that today? Yeah. Joseph, do you know the answer to that?
I don't.
Okay. Well, we do have an update core option, don't we, in the UI?
We do, yeah.
Within backdrop, you can of course do it.
Is that how you update sites, Sarvashri?
Yeah,
In
I
backdrop?
use that every time.
Okay. So maybe they don't need anything here then for an update because we do have that a button available in backdrop and presumably that works. I manage all my code.
That's one of the features I like
Right.
most because updating Drupal is a terror for me.
Fair point. Okay. Well, so that it looks like that's all there is in terms of managing it. So that import, yeah, I don't know if that's what you said, Joseph, that you've already installed the site and you're just getting it into Softaculous. It almost implies that like you've got the site somewhere else and you want to import it to Namecheap, but I just don't see how this would be enough.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's enough information for that.
Right. Okay, it does say auto detect all installations. Maybe you're right that this just means like if we've installed it on their server, then you could, yeah, from other auto installers. Okay, I'm now leaning to think that that's you've got it right, that it's just adding it to Softaculous, not importing it from another service.
Right.
Anyways, I thought it would be interesting to share this because I don't know how much control we have over this anyways, but it's something to be aware of as we're talking to people. I don't know if we should do a better job of promoting the fact that this is available. A screenshot of this page on Twitter wouldn't hurt. I could do that. Just letting people to know to look for this.
Tim, that features page, the listing on there is, yeah, that's exactly what's listed on backdropcms.org under why use backdrop CMS, except for the first item, built-in upgrade from Drupal 7.
Interesting. So how do I get that from here?
Yeah, just scroll down.
Oh, is it this list?
It's that list.
Okay.
It starts at
Right.
serves fast, pages fast.
Yeah.
So
but they left out that.
they left out that one.
Interesting choice. Okay. Well, Sarvashri, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a built-in upgrade from Drupal 7. That would imply that it would be automatic.
Well,
It is more automatic than upgrading to Drupal 8.
If we rephrase that, they might use it.
Yeah, I don't know. I suspect they didn't use it because they didn't want comparisons.
They don't want to seem like they're taking sides on stuff.
Right. Right. To enforce that would be, yeah. So anyways, okay. Well, if nobody, I'm done with my demo. Unless anybody has any questions or wanted to see anything else here, I think we could go ahead and wrap up now, have a few minutes before the next meeting. Or if anybody has anything else they want to talk about.
I don't really have anything.
Okay, well, go ahead and wrap up. Bye, everybody. And we'll see some of you in the next meeting in 5 or 10 minutes. I might be a little late for that meeting, so hopefully other people can get it launched. Okay, I see Jen was typing into the chat there, so. Okay, I'm having a bad day. Where do I get out of here?
Take a short break.
Yeah, but I have to end the video. Last week I forgot to end the video.